rear command dial is a joke, okay? That is a super cool design, one which I really hope Nikon will adopt. What's up everybody, I'm Z-Wade, the Z-Wade and Z-Wade Photo, and as you probably guessed from the title, a Nikon user myself is going to be checking out the Sony A7RV, which at the making of this video is a rather new release. This is not a purchase. I did borrow this from Borrow Lenses, who is not a sponsor, but I do like their service. I've also got a lens on the way. Lolly is complaining. I also have a lens, and you're going to be able to guess what it is, so I'm just going to tell you. It's the Sony 50mm f1.2. That review is actually coming up really soon, so make sure you subscribe and hit the bell if you don't want to miss that. Do you think that the Sony A7RV might have the ability to flip me from Nikon? I'm going to spoil it for you. No. Even without shooting this, I know it's not going to, because most of the Sony cameras are notorious for having this stud in the grip, and that hits right here on my finger. I'm going to see if I can show you that. You see that? And there's really no way for me to hold it that doesn't happen unless I like put my thumb right there, and that is a really sketchy grip. So no, I'm absolutely not going to flip, regardless of how good this camera is, and I'm sure it's awesome. I think I'm going to have a lot of fun shooting it over the next 5 days before I have to send it back, but it's really just a shame. I don't know whose hands fit the Nikons. I have rather short, chunky fingers, and there's just no way to do it, and that's kind of a shame. Well, I guess I can do it like that, but like I can't reach any buttons. You know, I can't even hit the C2 button like that. But that's not what this video is about. This is about a first impressions of the camera. Besides the atrocious grip, I actually like this cutout for this finger right here, but it's kind of the grip is too thick, right? It's too thick this way, and so I can't really get my fingers around it. Well, let's move on to the buttons here. Boom, boom. The on-off switch is, I don't want to be too judgmental, but it's really flimsy. It feels like it's made of the cheapest plastic ever, and it's got like some slop to it. The shutter button feels okay. The C2 button feels okay. The C3 button feels okay. The joystick, I guess, feels okay, but I have a hard time feeling the difference between up and actually pressing on it, but it's got nice grip to it. This back dial here feels decent. Okay, this back command dial here, this back command dial is a really offensively cheap plastic. That's not cool at all. The exposure compensation, also a really cheap plastic, although I'm sure you can program this to do whatever you want, but that feels like terribly cheap. Oh my god, this dial too, it's nice and firm, but it feels really cheap too. This switch down here feels okay. This is how you switch from photo to video to SNQ. I don't know what that is. Let's check out this rear screen here. This is actually really cool because, like, I'm in a weird spot where I could use a flippy screen, but with the style of shooting I do, where I have to like crouch and kind of like look off to the side, like on the Canons, like it sends nerve pain down to my leg. But this, you can flip it out, or you can actually pull this out. That is a super cool design, one which I really hope Nikon will adopt. I like the Z9 screen, but Sony has managed to get this to where you can do the portraits if you want, so you don't get this angle like you do on the Z9, but I could live with that. That's pretty cool. That is a super cool design. Good job, Sony. The cards are CF Express Type A, which is stupid. Sony needs to drop that entirely. But you can also fit SD cards in there, so that's cool. But I'm a big fan of CF Express Type B. I know they're really expensive. They're not as expensive as CF Express Type A, I'm fairly certain. But Sony, I know you're not going to see this, but drop the CF Express Type A, okay? I don't really know who likes those. They're slower, they're more expensive, right? Just switch to CF Express Type B. Now I want to throw the battery in here so I can kind of get an idea of like what the screen looks like. Hold up. This is really weird, and it's going to be impossible to show you on camera. The Nikons don't do this, and so I don't think the Canon R5 did either, but this sensor looks like it's flopping around in there, and I don't know if it's broken or if maybe whenever you turn it on, it activates. I don't want to turn it on without the lens on there because I don't want to get dust on it. I don't own this. This belongs to Borrow Lenses, but that's kind of scary looking. I want to mention again that this lens here is not going to be reviewed in this video, but I do have a review that will be coming up of the Sony FE f1.2 50mm G Master. Today, I'm not going to be doing that. I'm just going to check the resolution. The shutter has a very satisfying soft sound to it. Let's see if you can hear that. Very soft, very quiet. That's not in silent mode, that's mechanical shutter. Good job, Sony. Not only is it quiet, but it's satisfying as well. I'm not really a huge fan of the EVF. It seems like the refresh rate is not really what I'm used to on the Z9. I could definitely get used to it, but it kind of, like I can see it, like it seems like it sizzles a little bit or something. Like the Nikon Z9 has gotten really close to like, I mean, it just looks like you're looking through an optical viewfinder, except you can see your exposure. This, for whatever reason, I'm not really seeing that. There may be a menu setting, however, that increases the refresh rate. Let's check out the back screen. Well, interjecting real quick. This turned out to be an effect of the very low light situations of my studio. In further testing, the optical viewfinder is totally fine. In fact, it's really nice. Clear, crisp, great. The rear screen seems pretty good. I'm not getting that little like sizzly effect, so I don't know what's going on there. But so far, not super great, but not terrible. As far as the construction goes, with the exception of a couple of those kind of cheesy dials that Sony really needs to never do again, you know, the real rickety plastic feeling on-off switch, and this rear command dial is a joke, okay? It feels like a joke. But besides those, the actual body itself feels really sturdy, and so good job on that, Sony. I have confidence of the durability of it, so if you nick it or ding it, and that's not the case with the Canon R5. It was a lot lighter, a lot kind of, it felt more thin. This here feels thick, okay? It doesn't fit my hand good, but construction-wise, it feels thick, and so great job on that, Sony. Over the next several videos, we are going to be doing all kinds of stuff with the Sony A7RV, including eye tracking with me and with Lolly, moving subjects. We're going to do street photography. We're going to do some self-portraits. We're going to do all kinds of stuff. Lots of content coming out with this, and we're going to be comparing this to the Nikon Z9 side by side, right? So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss those videos. For now, I'm Z Wade, the Z Wade, and Z Wade Photo, and we'll talk soon.